Do you ever think about how Nico Rosberg got rid of the extra seams on his racing gloves to gain a competitive advantage over Lewis Hamilton? Because I do. See, in 2016, Nico Rosberg was doing everything and anything he possibly could to gain an advantage because tiny margins matter. And one of his focuses was weight, and he was getting rid of everything. He was stripping down his helmet from all the paint possible, basically down to carbon fiber, saved him 80 grams. He was cutting up his socks so it only had the fabric he absolutely needed, 10 grams. He stopped cycling, which he loved, to lose muscle mass and reduce weight there. He lost like 1 kilogram between both legs. And for the first two things with the socks and the helmet, does it actually help? I don't know, but maybe in his head it did. For the muscle mass, he believes that his pole position in Suzuka 2016, which he won over Lewis Hamilton by 200-300 or something, that like the muscle loss in his legs was a contributing factor to that. He had a very strict diet. He did no artificial sugars, no lactose, no gluten. He would do this like mental training fortitude thing where he would walk on a treadmill at a 15% incline for 7 kilometers while playing online poker. He would do underwater boxing and try to hold his breath for as long as possible. That was his trainer Daniel's idea. But for removing the seams and extra patches on his gloves, that was to get the best feel possible of the clutch, because between 2015 and 2016 there was a change in like the clutch release system, and so basically he wanted to like get a thinner and slimmer fabric and to customize the feel on his clutch finger or whatever. And there was also the thing about sleeping in a separate room from his wife and obviously daughter, and that wasn't only so that they wouldn't disturb his sleep, it was also so he wouldn't disturb them. Obviously his wife was doing all the work with, you know, the daughter getting up at night and stuff, but Nico was working with a sleep specialist for the flyaway races especially, and they would adjust his like sleeping pattern by 1.5 hours like each day, kind of like incremental. So for example, he would wake up an hour and a half earlier each day until he was on par with the schedule of wherever he was going to be. So for example, for Australia, on the final day, he would be waking up at 1 a.m. or 2 a.m. or whatever it was to do his morning routine, to go on his run, to have his shake, to do his underwater boxing, so that like when he got to Australia, he was ready to go. There was zero adjustment required because he was already adjusted. He was sleeping everywhere. He was sleeping on the jet, and he tells us one story about how he came back from a flyaway race, and obviously he was still on that time, and so he fell asleep in the middle of the day, but he's got this little like daughter at home, and she comes into the room wanting to hang out with her dad and play or whatever, but she realizes he's sleeping and she knows that she's not supposed to make any noise, so she like puts her hand over her mouth to make sure she doesn't do anything. And he feels like very guilty and very bad, and realizes that in that moment, obviously before, but especially in that moment, that this is affecting them, like my family. It's not just me here, you know, there's other people in like my life.